Right, pirates, so it's Monday the 12th of January 2026, ahoy. Core, it's been a while, hasn't it, yeah, I haven't done any videos in a long time, as you know. When lockdown, I've been following what's going on in the world geopolitically for 20 odd years now, and during this time we've really seen things increase, and at the minute, the way it's going. But for me, it started with lockdown. That was the beginning of the end, and everyone was carrying on as normal, and it broke me. I sort of gave up, went on a 4-year crack binge, of which I've now been clean for a good 2.5 years or 2 years. I've got myself a new lady and a 14-month-old little daughter. And yeah, things just really changed for me. I kind of just gave up. Kind of waiting for the end. And it's now obviously been 6 years. We're just starting the 6th year. And as you're all aware, the world is going crazy, and it is getting faster and faster and faster. And for people like me, we've been talking about this for 20 years. I mean, I knew the war with Russia that was going to happen in 2004 when Putin came out in front of on the global media and said, look, they used the Twin Tower demolition as an excuse to put missiles closer to Russia and all the rest of it, using Iraq and all that as an excuse to get out there. And he said 20 years ago, we were part of a treaty after the Cold War, the MAD treaty, a treaty that ensures mutually assured destruction. So one person has the nukes, people have the anti-nukes, and it's designed in a way to put people off having wars. But Putin came out and said, NATO, this is what you're doing. I know what you're going to do, and I'll have no choice to do what I'm going to do. And then in 2014, they went and usurped the government, put their man in, and it all went downhill from there. They couldn't bring their missiles closer, so they took over the country next door. And again, that was the beginning. But people were carrying on, oh, Russia this, Russia that. No, it's us, the West. And now Donald Trump is blatantly going against everything that he said, standing for election, everything that people want in not just America, but the entire world. And now we've got global destabilisation everywhere. And people think this is just happening just off the cuff. Well, it's not. Putin warned in 2004 that this was going to happen. That's 22 years ago. To put it into context, 22 years ago we knew this was going to happen. And yet people say, oh, you're nuts. Well, this is it. This is the spiral now. And what with Venezuela and threatening Cuba and Colombia and all the rest of it. And now Denmark. Denmark is a NATO country. NATO was set up to ensure that countries like Greenland don't get taken, because if they did, the whole of NATO would respond. So now Trump wants to replace NATO, as it were. That's his, he said, oh, we need that strategically. Well, we've got it strategically. NATO has it. So he's now destabilising NATO. Well, what happens when America and NATO start going against each other? Would that not be the perfect time? If Russia was ever going to do anything, that would be the perfect time to do it whilst we're fighting ourselves. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But it's obvious what they're doing, because we're going to war. They've just put a request in for 150 billion defence budget. And that is a wartime budget. That is blatantly a wartime budget. And at the same time, they're going around the world seizing the oil, and that's what they've been doing in Iraq and everywhere else, seizing all the oil. And, you know, Venezuela, they want all the rare earths and the oil. But the oil itself is, from my understanding, one of these oils that's it's hard to refine and all the rest of it. And so it's going to take years and years and years to get that and do all that. When, if they just said to Denmark, look, NATO, we should use Greenland now to build our resources and do all that. Even then it won't be done in time. But all this has been done, and it's not been done by accident. This is the thing that people like me have been stressing for over 20 years. We knew this was going to happen. It happens every time. They follow the same playbook. And I dare say that's what happened at the beginning of the Second World War, the First World War. You know, I used to love history when I was a kid. I mean, I still do. I love the ancient history now. I love history, but the truth is I don't believe any of it. You know, history is written by the victors of war. You know, and when this war's done, it'll be like, oh yeah, we had to defend against the tyrannical Putin and all the rest of it. When it's bullshit. We've caused this from the beginning, 100%, and it started, well, you know, it started for me when the Twin Towers were knocked down. And people go, oh, no, that was a terrorist attack, that was terrorist. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Because a year, minus a day before that, the Project for a New American Century, which is a think tank involving Cheney, Donald Rumsfeld, you know, all the usual suspects. They outlined a plan for regime change in 7 countries, including Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, Libya. Well, listen, we've been doing all that. That's what's been happening. And it just so, and they even in the document turned around and said, it will probably need to be terrorists. Someone, and I quote, someone like Osama bin Laden. So they even told you who they were going to use. So none of this where we're at now is by accident. And on the news we're all bickering with each other, but I dare say at the top they're all in it together. Because in 1990 they brought out, or whatever, early 90s, it was when Agenda 21 came out, which, you know, then became Agenda 2030. It's the plan for the New World Order. Now, they want global digital control, IDs, digital currency, one world religion, one world order, one world army. Well, nobody's ever going to go for that. So the only way they can do that is by making you beg for it. And by the end of this, we will be begging for it. At the same time, we've got problems in our own country, you know, with failed immigration policies and stuff, and they continue to bring people in even though they don't want to. Keir Starmer is obviously a traitor to his country. And that's just how it is. These people at the top, they're all best friends. It all gets organised at Bilderberg and Davos and all the rest of it. And for people like me, it's heartbreaking every single day. When for 20 years you've been saying it, and even when things happen and arriving, people still can't believe it. They don't want to believe it, but it's the truth. And we're all going along, you know, bickering about all these little bits and bobs, whilst at the same time, behind the scenes, all this stuff's happening, and it's not going to get any better. They're already talking about sending our children to die and all that in war. Well, I've got 2 kids in a couple of years that'll be at the right age. You know, I've got my young daughter that's 14 months old. What kind of world is she going to live in? You know, and the world leaders are pushing for stuff that nobody in the world wants. Nobody. So how is this allowed to happen? How are they allowed to continue to go behind everyone's backs and do this and nothing happens? You know, as far as I'm concerned, all these world leaders need fucking hanging. It's... I don't know what the answer is. You know, apart from everyone just needs to stop going along with it. Just need to stop. Just don't do it. These people, how can you trust these people? And they're telling you to put chemicals into your body via injections and stuff like that. Well, how many people now are walking around all hobbling with clots in their legs, with illnesses that haven't existed for 30 years? People just dying. It's kids dying on football pitches. I mean, honestly, everyone needs to wake up and smell the bacon, man, because this is what's coming. And it's getting to the point now where there is going to be some kind of major conflict. And people here in England, these ships that have been seized, they're docked in Scotland. We've got American AC-30 planes and all that landing and doing all this stuff behind the scenes, and none of it's getting reported. So behind the scenes, they are building up, ready for war. You know, we've got these ships. What happens if Russia decides to attack Scotland, our coast? You know, we know they've got their submarines. We know they've... You know, look at these Oreshnik missiles that have just fired and that. There ain't no stopping that. And the treaty that was broken was the MAD treaty, you know, which ensured mutually assured destruction. Well, that's where we're going to end up. In 25 days, the nuclear treaties expire. They're not going to get renewed, which means everyone can do whatever they want with nuclear weapons and all the rest of it. Not that anyone's even bothering about treaties and that at the minute anyway, but, you know, that's carte blanche. Got all this stuff going on, and nobody's happy with it. You know, and for the last 20 years, we've all been pitted against each other, whether you be black, white, gay, straight, tranny, Muslim, Christian. We're all bickering amongst ourselves, and quietly in the background, these people are actively and purposefully destroying the world, destroying the planet. And the only outcome of this will be a one world order, when everyone has had enough of it and they go, right, we accept it. And at that point, everyone's fucked. Facial recognition on the streets, you know, when all the Muslims start kicking off, then we're going to be calling for facial recognition, checkpoints, army on the streets. Do you want that? Do you want to be living in fear? Because that's what they want. And, you know, that's what they're getting. But people are so busy with their lives, and they get their information from the BBC and stuff like that, and they have no idea what's actually going on. You know, when world leaders say they want peace, they don't mean everybody sitting in singing songs in a circle, dancing around a fire. No, peace, they mean peace when everyone is pacified, when there's no one left to fight. That is how you get peace. So, right, Tyler, how you doing? Oh, yeah, mate, good. Yeah, so this is where we're at in the world, and it ain't getting no better. So don't fall for it. We don't want to fight and die for causes that we do not believe in. People, you know, send the politicians to war. See Keir Starmer charging across the mud with his rifle and his bayonet. Yeah, right. Probably can't even tie his own shoelaces. But this is where we're at, and this is why I've had a struggle in life for the last few years, and all the rest of it. So I felt compelled to make this video today. Just go for a little walk, because I just can't stand it anymore. Yeah, all right, I'm just making a video. So yeah, this is where we're at. Guys, this ain't good. It really ain't. But there we are. That's what's going on. I just felt the need to have a little moan about it. I might start making a few more videos now, because the reason why I haven't is I've been trying not to, because it affects me. It does, you know. 20 odd years I've been talking about this shit, and now it's there for everyone to see, but it happens so slowly. And this is the thing what fucked me with lockdown. I knew that was the beginning of the end, but now we're 6 years later, you see, and that 6 years my life has basically stopped, you know, which is my fault. I shouldn't have done that, you know. You should carry on regardless. But yeah, you know, I've suffered with drug addiction and depression most of my life. I've been clean for many, many years, except for my little 4-year wobble. Until I realised that, you know, I'm doing their work for them there, you know what I mean? It's so trying to keep your chin up high in the face of all this. It's very difficult, you know. I spend hours listening to this stuff and studying it so that I can talk and relay, but it takes its toll. It takes its toll. So there we go. I feel like I'm in a better place now, so I feel I would like to start doing stuff. Maybe one day I'd like to get a boat and start doing me pirates again, but I've been suffering with injuries, tendon problems in my right shoulder. My left elbow's completely gone. I'm trying to get to the bottom of it now with MRIs and all that. But yeah, it's been tough, and just trying to keep positive. That's the thing that I need to deal with. Oh dearie me. But listen, I hope you're all doing better. But yeah, seriously, you need to. It's hard, isn't it? People don't have time, they're busy. But there's so much information out there that contradicts the narrative. And even in their own words and writings, they tell you these things. But people don't take the time to listen to it or read it themselves. They get an overview from the news, which is, you know, completely biased and mostly bullshit. Do you know what I mean? So, there we go. Anyway, it's a pirate side for me. Arr.